and welcome to the second episode of the Snap the Ball podcast. I'm Archie,
And I'm Alex.
and if you haven't seen the first episode, I'd recommend going see it. We talk a little bit about us, a little bit more of an introduction type episode. But this episode, we're going to get a little more into the meat of what this podcast is going to be. But first, I do want to talk about one memory I have from playing football, and that is my senior year of high school. I'm training for football. I didn't play. I played freshman year football, and I tried playing senior year football, but I didn't get a chance to fully play out the year because I had to switch high schools. So, our football team was just it's not the greatest. It's obviously a high school team, and so they were trying to find a better backup center because our backup center was just sailing snaps past the quarterback's head and stuff. And I just mentioned to my friend once. I was like, I played a little bit of a center freshman year. I snapped, and they're like, all right, go snap. And we're like, what? So they essentially saw me snap a few times, and then they made me the third string center, and which is a horrible idea. They shouldn't have done that for me. I'll tell you why. Because one day we were just practicing. It was just the main offensive line for the third string offensive line, and then the maybe second or third string defensive line. So it was just and the linebackers. So just the blitz package. And the quarterback says, hike. And in the film study afterwards, it sees that every single other person on the line moves by the next frame, and I haven't moved a centimeter. I am still. My reaction time was so slow that it was visible on film from the top view camera that I just didn't move at all. And it was hilarious because the coach saw that, rewinded the tape, looked at me, and then pressed play again. I was just sitting there oh no, my bad. And so that was a sign that I needed to increase my speed on the line. And I bring that up. Wait, what?
Were you snapping the ball?
I was the center.
Okay, so you were snapping the ball.
Yes.
And you were late.
Yes. No, that's the thing. Yeah, he says hike. Everyone moves. I haven't snapped the ball yet. My hand hasn't moved. Which technically, via NFL, rules, that means they're in trouble because I'm the center. The play starts when I say go. When I move.
Right. So it was their fault.
Technically, it's their fault. Yeah, they jumped off sides. But I bring that up because this week in MUT was a huge in that Ultimate Team was a huge offensive line week or huge lineman week because we got along with Campus Heroes and a new program MUT Heroes, which we're going to talk about in a moment. We got the Thursday night limiteds, which were one was Trent Brown, left tackle for the Raiders, which is 97, looked very nice, obviously expensive for limited time, and then we got a safety Keanu Neal. And then for Ultimate Legends this week, we got Jonathan Ogden, left tackle for the Ravens, but he never actually played right tackle, but Madden made him a right tackle. That's stupid.
Yeah.
We got John Randall, and for that limited time, we got left outside linebacker Ricky Jackson, which the card looks absolutely insane. It's an LT clone, if not better than LT. It's very, very, very gross. And this week was also the first week that the Ultimate Legends got upgraded up to a 98. So those are now up to a 98s. And that means that when you power them up, they'll be up to gold 99s. They'll be the official 99s of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe the reason why they made this the first week was because this week in MUT Heroes, we got a crap ton of 97 overall cards, including the star card of this week. Obviously, is 97 Lamar Jackson quarterback, which when you power him up and then throw. If you have a Ravens theme, you don't even need Sprinter on him to get 99. But even on a normal team, my team isn't a Ravens team, and I have him now because I was able to get him with doing solos and stuff. And he has 99 speed on my team, 99 throw power, 99 speed. All the out-throwing attributes. He has Gunslinger, he has Hot Rod Master. It is a disgusting card, and so that's definitely gonna be my quarterback for probably the rest of the year. I don't see a reason to need a change. 99 speed's the max speed. It's not like he's gonna get any better. There's no reason to change. So I think that's definitely one of the main cards of this week.
Oh yeah. Honestly, seeing this gold card art for Ricky Jackson kind of reminds me of the old Ricky Jackson that we got for, what was that? The what promo was that? Do you know?
I think that was just Legends, to be honest.
Hey, it was a special one. Remember, there was a Luke Kuechly. There was a I can't remember the promo. It was Kyle Fuller.
I think about replay. No, you're not talking about replays.
No, it was like at the end of the year. It was like Was it like Madden?
End of the year, Ricky Jackson.
Yeah, it was like a conclusion promo. But either way, I mean, this guy looks almost exactly like that card.
Yeah.
I mean, 92 speed. He's got 97 power move, 98 block shed. This guy is a very aggressive pass rusher, yes. And he's gonna do everything in the pass rushing category.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy's stacked. The only thing he doesn't have is coverage, so you don't.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, you just blitz them, and you should be fine.
Yeah, like linebackers actually do anything in coverage anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah, they don't do much.
Yeah, no. So the Ultimate Legend promo, I'm actually pretty excited. I'm actually pretty excited for, and it's not because of the top card. I'm more excited for the out of position cards that come out during these weeks. Mostly because, I mean, eventually when William Perry gets his, probably 99.
Will he though? He already has a 97. Is he gonna get a 99?
Got a 97, but they're gonna give him because of like technicality, and they're gonna be like, oh, here's a Bears legend. They'll give it to him, and when they do, I'm ready for that fullback card.
Are they gonna give him a fullback card though?
They will. That out of position's got to be a fullback card, man.
Watch them make it like middle linebacker or something.
No, come on. Oh, no, don't say that. Don't speak that into existence, man. Don't do that.
You know who I think is a good, out of position card? This week's out of position Jonathan Ogden, which is a 92 overall quarterback card. So you have a 6'9", like 345 pound quarterback that has 60 speed, but 93 throw power, 93 deep, and he gets gunslinger. So he's disgusting looking.
And they gave him 82 trucking.
They gave him 82.
So this guy's gonna put some people down. I mean, I'm excited about this one. I 93 throw power and 93 throw accuracy deep is all you need. So I'm excited for that one. Jonathan Ogden quarterback. I mean, he didn't even play quarterback. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But they're having fun with it. So I think that's probably the best part of it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah. So, Wildcard Wednesday, Campus Heroes. You got a card. What did you get?
I got two. So it looks like they gave one to I think almost all the Campus Heroes. The fun thing about that was that there were solo challenges, so that if you it was do the first solo, you get a random Campus Hero. Do the last solo, you get a random Campus Hero, and then for finishing all the solo milestones with the stars, you get another Campus Hero card. And so, I don't know if it was randomized or I don't know if it was a set you get this half of the cards for finishing this and you get this half. But I was lucky enough to get the Jeremy Shockey and the Herschel Walker power ups for free, and it only cost about 7,000 training to upgrade, like 7,000 training each to upgrade both. So I have two new power-ups for the Giants team. So I got them upgraded. I think Jeremy Shockey looks a little bit more comparable to Evan Ingram now with the speed increase, because now he has he has a +4 originally from the +2 the speed and sprinter, and then the power-up gives him another speed. So he's a little bit more comparable to the George Kittle I have on my main team. So yeah, that's fun. And then the Herschel Walker, which is fun with Herschel Walker. You need a tight end, really. Well, I mean, you got that 91 Cole Kmet last week from All Rookie.
Kmet, come on, man. He did get 90 mid route running, but he is slow, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. But the good thing now about Herschel Walker getting the power up is that he can now be put at fullback, so that on the main team, I have a fullback now to go with the running backs, which are going to be, when I finish them all out, are going to be Jim Thorpe, Barry Sanders, Saquon Barkley, and then in this My Hero program we got an 87 Wayne Gallman, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to find no use for that card. I'm pretty sure, unless I make mine a pure theme team where I don't have Barry Sanders, and like just the players that actually played on the Giants. So maybe he'll have a role, but more likely than not, he's probably going to be like maybe like my backup fullback just to have another maybe if I throw him like for routes just on the for a fullback.
Yeah, here's the thing. You know, why would he be a backup fullback? Or you freaking you're loaded at running back, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You are loaded at running back, and not even I think what last week for Ultimate Legends you've got another one, right?
Yeah, I got Jim Thorpe. Which was it last week or the week before? No, last week was Marvin Harrison, and
oh right.
So the week before was Jim Thorpe.
It was the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe that, man. You are loaded at running back, and I haven't gotten a Walter Payton. Okay, that is a problem. All right, Madden, EA, if you're listening, Walter, let's get it done. Right.
I mean, you got that Fitz Pollard from the Black History Month promo.
Which the Black History Month promo was, I honestly love that they did it.
Yeah.
I think I didn't like how they kind of hyped us up, especially during the morning videos, right? The update videos, into thinking that we were going to get a Kaepernick, right? I mean, he's in the game, Yeah,
he's in franchise.
He's in franchise, right? So he's in the game. It's not like they don't have him in the game. And they were hyping it up the entire month. And we were thinking, oh man, dude, this is the perfect opportunity. Like, this is going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to love it. And don't get me wrong, we did get some great players, right? We got the Ozzie Newsome, right? We got was it Pollard, right?
Yeah, Fitz Pollard. And then we got Doug Williams.
We got Doug Williams,
first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl and win Super Bowl MVP, with ironically the now Washington football team.
Yeah, and I love that they did that. I wish that they would have come out with that Kaepernick card,
mm-hmm.
right? I think everybody was ready for it. Everybody was excited about it. I mean, they even teased it a bit in the promo, right? Like between the community, everybody wanted it, and that would have been a perfect time to release it. And now it was a bit of a disappointment that we didn't get that.
Yeah. It's like looking back at what the promo is. It definitely made more sense that they didn't release, because they did release cards that were impactful moments in NFL history for those players and for what they became, and it makes sense. I think it's like the promo did what it was supposed to do. It's just that people talking about the promo, falsified, fantasized, what could have been.
And people wanted more. I think that's really what it was. People wanted more out of it, right? Or expected more out of it. If they're gonna do it right, if they're gonna do it right, Mm-hmm. And I mean, I expected a little bit more out of it. I'm happy with what we got, right? I mean, I got another Bears running back, and I learned a little bit more about, I learned a little bit more about history of the NFL,
mm-hmm. right? I think I was the one who told you about Doug Williams. I was like, oh, Doug Williams is coming, and you're like, who's that? And I'm like, this guy.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I remember the name. I've seen him in other Maddens, right?
You just didn't know what his significance was.
Right. I wasn't sure of the significance, and I mean, from that I learned, right? So I think that it did its job in doing that, right? But I think a lot of people would have loved, for there to be a Kaepernick card and for them to recognize that is a part of NFL history, whether
mm-hmm.
you like it or not. So, I mean, that was a great promo. I enjoyed it. I just wish it could have been a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think Ultimate Legends were really nice this week. And you have, for all of the people, all Madden players, I think we all recognize that MUT does get a lot of attention. And sometimes we are a little we can always be, whether the attention is good or bad, right? We do get a lot of it. But this week, it changed up a little bit. There was a franchise update
mm-hmm.
that's, Archie right here. He's a really big franchise guy, so I'm gonna let him take that. so you go ahead.
So this week is obviously franchise update plus the March title update for the game. For the general title update, it was general gameplay fixes, MUT UI fixes, and like those are the main things. And then there was the big franchise update. So in franchise, the highlights were there's a new league history mode, which revisits. So it says revisit the history of your franchise through a new running log of key award winners, conference winners, and Super Bowl champions on a yearly basis. Records will be located in a single hub with a year filter to see champions and award winners from the previous year. So what that is in my franchise that I'm doing was a full fantasy draft rebuild, and I was the Vikings. I have like Joe Burrow and DK and like stuff like that on my team. And the team that won the Super Bowl that year was the Jets with Kaepernick MVP, Colin Kaepernick Super Bowl MVP, and they won. And so when I went to the tab, it was like Jets versus I think it was like the Bucks or the Cardinals. So Jets Cardinals like 42 to 35. Colin Kaepernick as the MVP, and then on the right it showed MVP was someone, and then like defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, rookies of the year were for my team. It was I won obviously because I was the player. It was Joe Burrow, and then on defense I had Isaiah Simmons as defensive player of the year, and then it showed best kicker and best punter. So that's fun that they have like that as like a screen now, so you can like go back and see like what years, what happened certain years and things. I don't know if it necessarily was in terms of like franchise, I mean, I'm sure people asked for it, but it wasn't really like a necessary thing. But the thing that they did bring into the game that was necessary was updated the trade logic and player value improvements. So basically they made the trade block make more logical sense, so that like, just because a team needs a tackle doesn't mean they're going to take a 55 overall tackle and give you 3 first-round picks. Like that's way more that's fixed. They value players' age more. Like they understand the age. They understand like team philosophy and like things like that, and like their development trait or overall trait, things like that. And they also did a thing where quarterbacks are valued more like highly. So the fact that like the example they used on the Gridiron notes was like if say you were trading a like 90 to 93 overall card or a player in the game, and an 86 overall quarterback would be that same value to another team because of how important a quarterback is. That like an 86 quarterback is almost as good as having like a 93 overall, wide receiver or corner. Which makes sense because like, that's how that works. And also like the age with quarterbacks is also like defined a little bit better because like, quarterbacks regress a little bit slower and like they're still good after a couple years. So yeah, like the quarterbacks are just valued way more highly than they would have been before, because before it was just very, very tough. It was a very weird, wonky system that was very exploitable, and people did a lot for like their franchises, which makes sense obviously, right? It's like you want to get your team to be the best. I've told you, Alex, about some of my wonky trades I've done with teams, and it's just been like, yeah, let me just grab Hopkins for like I'll give them back Golden Tate and like a third, and they're like, yeah, we'll take it. It's like what? It's like why? It's like why would you take that? But like so that's a little bit more improved. I saw Bengal do that. Bengal do a few episodes of his franchise, so it's a little bit better. It makes a little bit more sense. So that's like the main thing of franchise, like league history and like trade logic's better, which is something we've asked for. And there's a little sneak peek of next year's franchise in the Gridiron notes. There's at the end of the video, or at the end of the website blog post, there's a video from one of the franchise people, and it's talking about franchise whatever, and in the background is a screenshot or a video or like maybe the game of what people believe is next year's Madden franchise, and it's showing coordinator management. So it showed the Bears as an example. So it was Matt Nagy, and then it showed like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and like special teams. So it looks like that's coming back as a feature for next year is coordinator management, which I mean, I don't know how much I'm gonna like it. I wasn't playing franchise at a time where that was a feature, so I don't know how well I'm gonna really use that. But I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure that it's gonna have the immersion of like instead of just having one coach that does everything, you can actually define everything else. Because I know when I played a couple years ago, I went to like a place called This Replay, and like I bought like an old NCAA football game for the Xbox 360, and I was playing that, and I was like, oh, you can like choose your coaches and whatnot. So I was like, I thought that was cool. I enjoyed it. So now we're gonna see it coming to Madden next year. So hopefully that'll be something that first off works when it comes out, and like actually helps the immersion and help franchise people actually play better. But yeah, that's pretty much it for franchise, and like pretty much it for what happened in MUT. There isn't too much going on. There's too much more going on yet, but that's pretty much the Madden update for the week.
Awesome. So reflecting on it, moving on to the NFL, right? I think the biggest talk so far is just the few things that have happened in free agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who's become available and who's already been tied up to a team.
Yes.
So I know you've got a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Want to run down it?
Yes. So what we've seen so far this past week has been Terrell Williams to sign with the Detroit Lions for a 1-year deal for $6.2 million.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's go one by one, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've got Terrell Williams to the Lions, and they also just got Jared Goff. Yes.
Yes.
And okay. So the NFC North's getting a little interesting. I know Terrell Williams is definitely a big. I always remind. I'm always reminded of his like jump balls, especially during the Chargers time, like when he was there. I didn't see too much of him when he was on the Raiders, but I know I'm pretty sure he had a 1,000-yard season his like second year there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really big. So I don't know if Goff is gonna really be like how well they're gonna get along, but man, that could be scary, especially if they end up re-signing Galladay.
Mm-hmm.
That can be scary.
They have Terrell Williams, Galladay, T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Do they still have AP at running back? I think they do. I think AP.
They do have AP. They have AP and Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson, I really do like.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think their offensive line's too shabby. Like I don't know what it is, but I haven't heard about problems with it, so I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Yeah. It's not the worst, right? Like.
Yeah.
It's not the worst.
Speaking of the NFC North, the Vikings release their veteran tight end Karud, which clears $5.1 million in cap space, which I found that interesting because I know they have Irv Smith, which they're probably going to rock with Irv Smith, their other younger tight end. But I just find it funny because like Karud's been there for forever. It's been their guy. And if you really think about the Vikings, they do a really, I don't know if it's necessarily a good job, but they do a lot of work to keep their roster the same over the years. Like they do not have much roster turnover unless people like legit like retire. Like a what's his name? Like that B-Rob. Brandon, like B-Rob. Remember, you know what I'm talking about? When they did like the behind the scenes videos for the Vikings a couple years ago?
Brian Robinson.
Yeah,
Brian Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was Brian Robinson. I didn't know.
Cause yeah, they would do like behind the scenes videos with him, and they were so fun. I wish they brought those back. I know right now can't really do that anymore because no one's around in the facility, and B COVID and everything. But those are such videos, such funny videos. What do you
honestly? Kyle Rudolph. I just want to add on to Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's a big surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even think of a place he would go. I mean, he's up there in age, right? He's been there for a very long time. He'd probably want to go somewhere where he could win quick. Actually, but the Saints are in like cap room mess, but they just got rid of Jared Cook, and I mean they could take that as a target, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where he would go if we have to circle back to that in another podcast where he could go.
Definitely, yeah. I definitely want to keep track of that because he is like, if not a good player, he's a good person, and that's always a very fun story to follow.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of another release, we have my New York Giants releasing Golden Tate, wide receiver, clearing $6.14 million cap space, which I'm glad they got rid of him. Obviously our quarterback, our receiver room isn't great, but it's like we have 3 of the exact same type players. Like we need different people, and Golden Tate is just they're not, not doing it anymore. I appreciate his time. Obviously, it was very fun to watch. I know he made that one play against the Patriots that one year, a couple years ago, maybe, and that was very fun to watch. But yeah, we need cap. Like we need money. We have nothing. So getting rid of Golden Tate definitely really helps.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think I'm surprised that they're just releasing him because I still think he has some good value.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can definitely come in as a number 2. I think he's 32 years old. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, he's definitely. I mean, he could still have a few more years, right, or another year or 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can definitely play as a number 2 receiver. I think he did very well when, he was on the Seahawks with Baldwin and Lockett, right?
Was he on the Seahawks?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was there before, like a few years ago.
I know he was on the Lions. I know he was on the Eagles.
He was before the Lions. He was on.
Yes, he was. I think he was drafted by the Seahawks.
Drafted by the Seahawks, I think.
Yeah,
that sounds
Seahawks
right.
to the Lions, then to the Eagles, and then to that sounds right. That sounds about right.
But I mean, he did so great there. Even on the Lions, I remember him like messing us up. Yeah, like I used to really hate him.
It was him and Marvin Jones were like the two. If that doesn't tell you how old these players are in terms of like in terms of like NFL years, like think about like the mid 2000s, 2010, freaking Golden Tate and Marvin Jones destroying the Bears with Matt Stafford.
You know what? I just looked it up, and I mean, okay, well, this is from a very Packer central source. Lombardi Avenue. Yeah, so they say, they're trying to look at Golden Tate and see if that'd be a place, or if the Packers would be a place that he can go to. Which honestly,
I don't know about that.
That would be so much more productive than, like, I mean, Devontae Adams is their only receiver.
Yeah.
That really, I think Tate could actually be something there, right? Even if it's for a year or 2. I think that can actually be really nice. He's been fairly consistent, and honestly, if he gets paired with another number 1 wide receiver, like when he did it with Baldwin, right? Baldwin had that year where he was insane. He had like 14 touchdowns. I think it was like 2015. I'm not sure if they were in the same year, but either way, Baldwin was really good alongside him. So I can really see if he's paired with Devontae Adams, like, man, that could be scary. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. Before we get to the bigger ones, I do want to just talk real quick about the Bears, and how they just released Buster Screen, and that freed up like 2.7 mil for cap space. So I think we saw this coming. Buster Screen was really bad. He was our slot corner, and he was playing terribly this past year. Although there were some times where like I saw him and I was like, yes, and sometimes, especially with tackles, when he was tackling, I was like, oh my god, he got that? Like he played really well. When it came to like run support, and you can tell that he was really trying, but he got outplayed too many times by the Packers. He let up, I think, he let up some really big passes against the Packers and other players, like other teams, out of Jalen Johnson, Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson, and Gibson. He was the one person in the secondary that just got exploited way too often. And I think he was even injured for a little while, and the backups had to come in, and they played pretty well. But even them, they got exploited. So I think slot corner is something that's going to have to be either we bump up some of the younger guys and put them in, or we look for somebody else in free agency. But yeah, that was expected. Buster Screen. Yeah, that was expected.
Yeah, and then we also had the Dolphins releasing Kyle Van Noy, which is funny because it's like speaking of MUT Heroes, he just got a 97 overall card and then gets released like the day after, which is so funny.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
It's like it's not funny because he lost his job, but like that's ironic.
You know what?
It's like
this is one of those moves. I think like the Patriots just might scoop him back up. The Patriots
just bring
do
it
that
back,
often.
yeah.
Like they just let their player go, and then the player doesn't do so well, and then they just pick him right back up.
Didn't they just? They literally just did that with their line. Jamie Collins. They literally just did that with Jamie Collins.
Yeah, like they do that, and like, man, the Patriots like and their defense, especially with their defense, they will make something out of nothing. They will make something amazing. Their defense is always great.
Yeah, and then going into a little bit of the bigger signings, I'm gonna rank them in order of what obviously we think is importance. So one of the big ones is Justin Simmons, the safety for the Denver Broncos, got franchise tagged. So now he's back on the roster, which is very good because he is very, very helpful in Vic Fangio's defense, and is a very big he needs to be there. That's like he's a key player on that defense. I don't know too much about safeties. Safeties isn't really my strong suit in like learning about like what they do, but I just know that I very much enjoy watching Justin Simmons play. That defense they have a few players. They got Bradley Chubb, obviously. I think Von Miller. I don't know. I think he might be a free agent this year. Or he's like soon. He's coming up very soon. There's like he's gonna be gone at some point. But we got Bradley Chubb, and on offense they obviously need to work on offense. I like Drew Lock just because of Mizzou, being in St. Louis. I enjoy the Mizzou connection, but I know he's not doing great so far. I understand that. Hopefully he gets better.
I think what's most important is that they've got a defense, right?
Yes.
Their offense definitely needs improvement. I think they need they have a wide receiver. I can't remember who he is.
Sutton?
Yeah, Sutton. Like
he might also be
giving them a lot of attention.
He's also a free agent.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's been getting them a lot of attention, and hopefully they sign him back. But I'm just glad they're hunkering down on their defense, because they do have a star in Von Miller, a rising star in Bradley Chubb. Simmons is one of the big key players in the secondary, and they took Bryce Callahan from the Bears. All right. And Bryce Callahan just killed it this year. I think he even got the 96 overall corner or slot corner for Madden Team of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was maybe 96 or 97. I can't remember.
It was 96 because that 96 was the top card.
Right. But yeah, like their defense needs to stay solid. Vic Fangio is absolutely amazing. I'm upset he left the Bears because it left us with what we had the last year and year before. But I'm glad he's doing his thing. The offense definitely needs to be improved there though. But yeah, and we can move on to the other ones. Yeah,
the big ones are Pittsburgh signed Big Ben back for another year for 14 mil. That's obviously good for them. I don't know how much really has left in the tank to play. But yeah, Big Ben's back. It's good to see a veteran back on the team, back trying to compete for next year. I know. What do you guys say about that?
Man, I this past season, the only thing I've seen about Big Ben is how much he got bullied by the Browns. Didn't he just have, how many interceptions did he throw per game? He was really doing bad against the Browns. Was it the Browns, or am I mixing it up? I know there was one game where he just threw so many interceptions, and every drive pretty much ended in an interception.
It might have been that King said. Was it that one game where it's like they both got into like the 40s in the final score.
I think so.
Because that is one of like, the top games of last year.
Yeah, I just remember like this would have definitely been a terrible year to end off with.
Yeah.
You know, he looked bad. I mean, the team looked bad. It wasn't just him. The team looked terrible. I mean,
Defense,
Juju
though.
was defense. Oh my God, defense held it strong. But the offense, I mean, you
Yeah.
can.
Like-
They really
like-
do miss Brown. Like they really do miss Antonio Brown and Bell because that was terrible. I mean, Juju just was not anywhere that entire year.
He was making TikToks.
Yeah, he was just making TikToks.
Oh boy. What is that song? What is like the TikTok audio he kept using?
I don't even know.
I have no idea,
I don't
yeah.
even know. But yeah, that was yeah. You had the
But,
Steelers just had a terrible season.
Chase Claypool was a good, highlight for the offense, I believe.
Oh yeah. Definitely outshined Juju. I mean, I don't understand why Juju was dancing so much. You know, he would literally go on people's like the symbol in the
Like,
middle of the field.
Hit the symbol like through a Terrell Owens. It's like Terrell Owens' confidence, Terrell Owens' talent.
Yeah, like you gotta match it, man. You can't.
You gotta be mossing
I
people
mean-
if you're gonna go if you're gonna go dance, film some TikToks on the center.
I don't know. I think I've seen more highlights of him playing Fortnite than
Then
him
highlights of the
actually
year.
making catches. But yeah, this season was terrible for the offense, and I think like they need to come back and really try this again. But I think Pouncey, right? Didn't the Pouncey brothers?
The Pouncey
retire?
brothers, I believe, retired. So their center.
So
They were both
yeah,
centers, weren't they?
they were both.
Which is
centers,
hilarious,
actually,
actually. So they were gone.
So yeah, they left. I don't think that's not gonna be great for Big Ben, especially. I think the one guy that's really been riding it with him was Pouncey, right?
And Alejandro Villanueva, who's also a free agent. So their left
they gotta
tackle.
take him back.
So that team's gonna need a rebuild. Which they have.
They can't rebuild Ben there though.
They can't rebuild Ben. They need to.
They gotta plug and play, you know.
They either have to. I'm looking at the draft position, but they really need to think about getting a replacement. Because
What about a tight end? Who do they have?
who do they have at tight end? It's not just. Is it Jesse?
Kyle
Is it
Rudolph,
Jesse
man.
James?
Plug him right in there. Kyle Rudolph, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, I just feel like their offense was so bad. That was a terrible year to end off, and he's gonna come back wanting to fix that. So I'm excited for that. I think Big Ben, he's always a very excited person to watch, like a very exciting person to watch. It's just last season all the highlights I saw was just him not doing very great, or the offense in general.
It's funny we say this because looking at their draft, they went 12-4, and they have the 24th pick. So that's like the team actually they went to the playoffs, but it's just
12-4 because of the defense. Like 12-4 because of the defense.
Yeah.
Like Big Ben, like that's so crazy. Like a 12-4 game. Like, but you know what? Towards the end of the season, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Didn't they just lose 4 games straight?
They might have. I think I remember that being a thing. I mean, he had 3,803 yards, 33 touchdowns, 10 picks. So not a terrible year, but like, I think it was just very tough for the offense to really do a lot. To be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible year. I mean, looking back at a lot of the scores, they were doing very well. Like, but you know what? They were doing very well against teams that, come on.
I mean, didn't they start the year off playing the Giants?
The Browns. They went to the Texans. They beat the Texans. Eagles. The Browns.
Weren't the Steelers the meme team for like the entire year of being like the best team to play against the worst opponents? Like, wasn't it the entire joke?
Washington football team. They lost to the Bills.
Dude, yeah.
They
Makes
lost
sense.
to the Bengals. I think that's when everybody
yeah.
was just like, oh man, they lost 27-17 against the Bengals. That's when everybody was like really making fun of them.
But yeah.
But I mean, they had a great season, really.
Mhm.
They really did have a great season. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger threw 4 picks in the playoff game against the Browns.
That's what it was. Yeah, the playoff game was not great.
And Mason Rudolph played there. Yeah, that's what it was. The playoff game really was not great. And they lost to the Washington football team. Yeah, see that?
Yeah, I remember that because I remember when we were discussing the how the Giants could get in the playoffs. The fact that they beat the Steelers was like no, it's like not that. I was like, that's what we needed not to have.
Yeah, I was like taken away when that happened. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, we're trying to decide if, only if the Steelers can beat them, which should definitely happen. And that didn't happen. So, yeah.
But
I don't know. So I mean, at least he's coming back. He's gonna revamp the offense. Even they went
12-4. Like
you do that again, you go into the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
So they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I think probably for more offensive help. I think that's it.
Yeah. But speaking of veterans being released and then signed, the big one for this week is J.J. Watt signs with the Arizona Cardinals for 2 years, $31 million. And there was so much talk about all these different teams. There was something about him, not owning a Peloton bike because people, there was some guy who made a joke about, a dude named KJ Watt changed his bio to be, Super Bowl 56 champ, Bills, Packers, or Browns, and it was just like people got flustered because of that. There was a whole mess for where JJ Watt's gonna go.
The conspiracy theories, like, oh man, he's gonna go to the Packers, like he went to Wisconsin, he loves it over here. I know, was it last year? I think last year he did the UW graduation ceremony. He did a speech there, commencement speech. There we go. And I know people were talking about that over there at UW. They're like, oh man, he was just here. He's definitely come back. Or like for Chicago, a lot of YouTube channels are talking about like, oh man, his wife plays here. Come on, they're definitely gonna want to go here. Comes to a big city, like great market, and he ends up in Arizona, right? Which I think that's fitting. It's fitting. Arizona's a team that can definitely. They didn't make the playoffs, but they didn't make the playoffs by technicality. I mean, they could have won. They could have won and made it. And the Bears got snuck in there, which I was happy about. But they could have very. Arizona's going to be a team that will probably make the playoffs next year, and I'm excited for it. I think Watt deserves it, and I'm glad he's back there with Hopkins now.
Yeah, right. They got both the Texans. Oh, the Texans. Oh. We'll get into that a little bit, but this is. I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
You better watch out, Watson's eyeing that position. Hold up.
They got Kyler.
Make a major trade.
Imagine just a straight up swap of Kyler and Deshaun Watson.
Oh, that would be big. They wouldn't do that. Though. I hope Larry comes back. I really do. I know he's gonna make that decision this offseason sometime. But I really do. I hope he comes back. I hate how Madden just completely disrespects the man. Gives him negative speed.
It's like it's so. What was that one? They just released those 95s for the club championship, and it was like that 195 that 195 Fitzgerald that was just 91 speed, and I was like, well, that's
probably the 92.
It was 92.
That is the highest his speed has been in the longest. The longest. I swear. Normally he gets a 99 card at the end of the year, and it's got 91 speed. Everything else is good though, like route running and all of that. I can't believe they do that, man. You definitely do. They need to correct that. Larry Fitzgerald needs the respect.
Mm-hmm. So we've had JJ Watt move, we've had Big Ben sign, and we've talked a little bit about Deshaun Watson. But the real story of this offseason is what the Seahawks do with Russell Wilson, and where does Russell Wilson want to go? And I know you have a lot to say about this, so I'm going to let you take this over.
Oh, man. Oh boy. I think Russell Wilson has listed 4 teams as his preferred landing spots. The Saints, the Raiders, the Cowboys, and my Chicago Bears. Looking through everything, the most ideal spot out of all of these positions, it's probably between the Raiders and the Bears. The Saints do not have the cap room, and even if they did, right, their defense it's not good. Seattle's defense wasn't great. Wilson is not going to go to a place that has a not so great defense. It would be the same situation, same story every year. You make the playoffs on great, offensive push towards the end of the season, and you fail in the playoffs because the other person outscores you. I think he's going to go to a place that has great defense, which the Raiders have. The Raiders do have a pretty tough defense. The Raiders also have a very nice offensive line. The one thing that kind of keeps me from saying, keeps me a little hesitant, right, is how the Raiders have been dealing with the Derek Carr situation. They've acted like Derek Carr, or they've not acted, they've been claiming Derek Carr is the guy of the future, and they are committed to him. In fact, when the Bears, the media went crazy last week, 2 weeks ago, saying Derek Carr could probably go to the Bears, or Derek Carr could probably go to a quarterback needy team, right? Even rumors like that there would be something going on during the draft, right? Possible picks. And throughout the entire time, the Raiders are saying, we're not listening to calls, or, Derek Carr is our guy and we're committed to him. But if you want Marcus Mariota, you can call us. And no, not saying that Marcus Mariota is not desired. I just think compared to the other quarterbacks, he's just not a priority, right? So looking back, he's listed the Saints, who just don't have the cap room or the defense. But the offense is absolutely loaded. I mean, you would get Michael Thomas, you would get Kamara, you would be loaded, and the offensive line amazing, right? And that's we still haven't heard it from Breeze, right? We haven't heard it to be official from Breeze, but he is most likely retiring. The only deal is I think we brought it up earlier before the everything started. I mean, they have a backup quarterback in Taysom Hill that has a $16 million contract. Like, they are spending big money on all of these players on offense, and they've dug themselves into a very big hole that I don't think they'd be able to. First of all, get their $60 million down. Like, they need to get rid of that, and then get rid of enough to bring in Wilson. I don't think that's going to happen. What I think can happen, the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys. Can you check what the cap space is? I'm pretty sure they have enough to bring in Wilson if they wanted to through a trade, right? I mean, they'd have to give up a lot. They'd probably even have to give up Dak Prescott, right? But the Cowboys have been dedicated to Prescott, and they have not. Once again, another team that's saying, hey, our quarterback is solid. They're staying there. They're staying with us. So you know, even though they haven't signed him to an actual like agreement, a lot of the Cowboys are saying, okay, no, Dak is our quarterback. So I expect for a deal to happen between them soon.
They have 18. Okay, so it says caps. I'm looking at Spot Track. Cap space with all is they have 18 mil.
Oh my god! I think Raiders have 1 mil. That, you know, they can obviously make some space somewhere. The Bears aren't that much, and you know, we'd have to cut a few people, and I don't think Robert Quinn's gonna last past this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be taken out. Maybe even another veteran player, which I hope that we can hold on to veteran players, but people have been throwing the names out like Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks. You know, I think Akeem Hicks a little bit more, but I like Akeem Hicks. I think he definitely plays a huge role in our offense and our defense, and sometimes the offense when he ran that touchdown.
I will say real quick, the Saints have the worst cap in the NFL with negative 47 million.
Negative 47 million?
I don't know how that's.
Oh, they just got rid of tight ends.
Possible.
That's why they started freeing up. Yeah, they just started like getting rid of tight ends, so they just started freeing up some space.
Mm-hmm.
But they have Yeah, okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, having that much, they're not going to be in the sweepstakes for Russell Wilson, or probably even Deshaun Watson. But the Raiders, I think the Raiders are in a good spot to actually make a move. The only thing is they're they would have to say that Carr is no longer the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and they also have a good offensive line. You know, the Raiders have a pretty decent offensive line, and I mean, I can't remember. There was a photo that we saw on Instagram where it's just Carr and like he's just sitting in a pocket that's just clean, and there's like 8 blockers. He's got 3 receivers out running routes, but this is the cleanest pocket I've ever seen. I think that's Russell Wilson's dream after going like I don't know if it was like 40 sack seasons.
Jesus, it was bad.
Yeah, so Russell Wilson's tired of getting sacked, and I don't know. I've heard reports like for the Bears, right? When we're looking at the Bears, they have a great defense, and they hands down have great defense. No matter the defense coordinator, I think they just have the talent there, right? We've seen it with Vic Fangio. It can be amazing, especially if we include a little bit more blitzing, right, and disguising of coverages. I think the one thing that that needs to be improved if we want to bring Russell Wilson in is the offensive line. And I talked about in the last podcast, right? Our tackles are not that great. And I'm actually surprised that people are saying Russell Wilson likes the Chicago Bears because of the offensive line and Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, I so far, you know, he tries a lot, you know, and I think after last year we learned a little bit about the restrictions we've had on passing plays for our offense, right? Bringing in a guy like Russell Wilson is it's gonna open up everything. When Nick Foles was in the starting quarterback position, and you know he's a statue in the pocket, nothing happened. We moved nowhere. But when Mitchell Trubisky was in, we at least got some type of production. The one thing I didn't like, or one thing that all of the Bears fans really didn't like, was the amount of times we missed deep passes. Deep passes were horrendous. And it didn't matter who it was, Nick Foles or Trubisky. They were missing passes. Mooney was wide open so many times. And I think a guy that specializes in deep passes like Russell Wilson, if we bring him in, the offense can really, really start to, you know, unfold and really start to, you know, lay out there. right?
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of potential, and we've heard that so many years with Trubisky, and there's so much potential for this playbook, and we just haven't had the quarterbacks to actually execute. I think we have the receivers. I think we have a great tight end. We have two great tight ends that are actually productive, right? Could get a little bit more out of Jimmy Graham, but whatever. But
And reuniting Jimmy Graham and Russell Wilson when Jimmy Graham was Wilson.
Right?
When Jimmy Graham was good,
Yeah.
was with Russell
Man,
Wilson.
just bring in Brandon Marshall again,
Hey, sign Golden Tate. You just remake
Golden Tate, yeah, bring him in too.
Re-sign.
Yeah, that would
all
be
the
amazing.
Seahawks. Actually, Golden Tate on the Bears does not sound terrible.
Doesn't. No, it doesn't. I think he could be really good at taking over Anthony Miller's spot. I like Anthony Miller. Actually, no, I really despise Anthony Miller so many times. Oh, I was about to say I like him. Oh, man. No. So Anthony Miller, at times, like, he can be awesome. Like, he moves the chains, but at times he just does the most idiotic things. Like, he'll get the first down, jump behind the line of scrimmage, trying to make an extra little move, and then get tackled 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or behind the first down line. And then we lose that third down conversion, Like, dude, what are you doing? Or, sometimes he doesn't reach out the ball. Sometimes he drops passes that are wide open. Or sometimes he'll drop passes that are right in his hands. And it was a very frustrating year. So hopefully he can, revamp himself this offseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, I saw so much. I used to think Anthony Miller was a number 2 receiver. Because Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, it could be great. Now Mooney has taken that spot. Mooney was so productive. He barely dropped any passes, and I mean, he was wide open so many times. The only drop, or not even a drop, the only ball that ever hit the ground when it was around him was when it was overthrown or so inaccurate, right? I mean, there's so many passes where, he was wide open or completely burnt his receiver. He torched Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey got killed by this man. I was blown away. Mooney really has so much potential. We just need a better quarterback to unlock it, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, if we bring Russell Wilson in, that's even more reason to have Allen Robinson there, But we're getting mixed reports. We're getting reports saying that Russell Wilson's just saying this thing. If they did want to get him out of there, it's like, okay, well, this is where I would go. And then we're also getting reports like Russell Wilson's not happy here, and so he wants to go somewhere else. And if he was going to go somewhere else, it makes sense for the Raiders or the Bears to take him. I think the Cowboys would have to do a little bit more to take him because the defense really was terrible last year. And to be honest, they have Dak, so you'd have to make probably a QB swap, But I don't know if the Seahawks are willing to make that trade because you don't know how Dak will be after injury.
I think also the fact that they can't even, like, I think Dak, because they already franchise tagged him, like, it's like the Cowboys either got to sign him or they can't do, it's not like they can trade him. Like, it's either he signs or he's gone. Like, they can't do really much with him. It's not like, it's not like they can use him for anything.
And the thing is, like, Wilson is going to see, I mean, he already told them these are the teams I want, but Wilson also has a no trade clause. So if he sees any red flags, he can just say, you know what, I don't want to go here, or I don't want to get this trade done. Like, I'm sorry, try to do something else. I know a lot of people definitely try. I've seen some people on YouTube and some people say like, oh, well, his wife would definitely want to go somewhere where, obviously Era, right, would want to go somewhere like a big market. Being in Seattle is great and all, but if you go to a big city like Chicago or, New York, right, or something like that, like, it could be even bigger and even better. But, I take those things with a grain of salt, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's the same thing with J.J. Watt and him liking UW-Madison, or like, like there are, they have a connection, or like, it's really not that big of a thing, right? I think it's more of just about, where would he want to play, And, I mean, yeah, I think Las Vegas is definitely a huge city.
Vegas would be a very fun city to go to. I think I like Vegas. Vegas is a team that I can see. I'm not saying I don't see like so. Okay, when I say like there's teams I watch like before they even drafted Josh Allen, I was like Buffalo is doing something. They were intriguing to me, and then when they drafted Josh Allen, I was like okay, and then obviously now they're like one of the top teams in the AFC, and I was like I enjoy the fact that I can say I took credit in like seeing that before anyone else did. So that's my little my little enjoyment piece. But
yeah,
the Raiders are a team that's like the NFL is more fun when the Raiders are good. Just because like they're bullies, but it's in a good way. They got Jonathan Abram, the safety, who's literally a bully. Like he literally will fight people.
Oh my god. Yeah, I just I was on Instagram yesterday, and I don't know who he hit, but I just saw him lay out a running back. I'm pretty sure, and this guy really is a bully. Like he embodies the Raider mentality.
Yeah, he
right?
is a Raider. Like there's nothing. It's like John Gruden saw him and was just like, yes, like you must be here. There's nothing else I can do about it, but you must be here somehow. And I know Adam Lefko, he loves him. He's someone another obviously more popular podcast person. He works with like NBA and TNT now a little bit more. He's someone that I've talked to a little bit before. I've really I did a project on him a couple years ago or like last year, and I sent it to him and he actually enjoyed the project, and he was like, oh cool, nice, and whatever. So I've had conversations with him, and yeah, he loves Jonathan Abrams, and he's like one of his like favorite people.
Oh yeah. I think, yeah, I don't know if it's weird because I think when I think of the Raiders, I think of Derek Carr, right? And I can't really think of another quarterback just taking that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Carr really does. I mean, he's a Raider, man. Like he's a Raider, and no matter where he goes, I'm always gonna think of him as a Raider, right? Even if he went to the Bears, like there were a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh, rumor," or like traitor, or not traitor, rumor, or like trade potential,
Reuniting,
like a whole bunch of people saying that like Carr could leave, but I think he's just one of those guys. Like I couldn't, you can't just take him out, right? He would always be a Raider, and yeah, I that's kind of like another reason why I don't think the Wilson thing would happen. I remember when Watson, the first time Watson's news came out, like where he was unhappy and he wanted to be traded. Everybody, it didn't even matter like the team or like what quarterback they had. Everybody was like, oh, he's coming here. Like I remember seeing like Instagram posts with him in a Packer uniform, and I'm like, come on, man, get out of here. Like some of these teams were just like, oh, we're gonna take him. But even with Watson, right? Like, I guess that's another person that's come up. Like, where do you think he could probably go? Right?
Watson. So, how do I say this? So, okay, looking at like who. So right now the top three quarterbacks. I think we talked about it last week a little bit, but like the top three quarterbacks in my mind for this offseason, ranking them, I'd put Watson number 1, Dak number 2, and Wilson number 3. I mean, I'd say like in that ranking, but Wilson being 3 is like still like better than 90% of the quarterbacks out there. So it's like it's not bad putting him at 3, but I think just Watson does have that much more potential, and I really do not know. A team to get them would be. I mean, there are things people talk about. The Dolphins. I'm the philosophy of giving, especially a team that's like obviously rebuilding and doesn't have a lot. There's no reason to rush out a quarterback. You know, obviously you want to have a quarterback as like your star piece to build around, but it's like I do believe in the philosophy of let Tua play another year, let him be healthy in the system, because like I mean to be honest, it's like they really weren't fair to him. Like looking back at like what I saw, because like all right, let's just throw Fitzpatrick in for a game. He does great for a game because like that's what he does. He does that every year. He's great for 3 games out of the 16, and that's like that's what he is. So I am a believer in the philosophy of really waiting and giving your quarterbacks chances. But with the Dolphins having 2 first-round picks this year, and in terms of team building, if you were to give, if the Dolphins were to give them those picks for this year, and then maybe one more for next year, you wouldn't be, like other teams, like for instance, like the Bears would have to give up like 3 first-round picks for like 3 different years. For the Dolphins, they would have a first-round pick back in a couple years, and it would be a little bit better of a, scenario for them to rebuild with. Because like Watson will be great. Like he will be better than Tua. Like it's like I'm not saying like Tua is gonna be better, but it's like if you give him, if you give Dolphins Watson, yes, they will be instantly better. And I believe, I mean, if anything, if this were to go down to the trade, they could really just do these 2 first-round picks and Tua for Watson and like a 5th, and like that's like, that's it. It's like there he is, perfect. Like they have their first-round pick for next year, and they have a quarterback that they can like run with. So that would be a good one. The Jets are also obviously a team that needs a quarterback. Sam Darnold's not the guy. I know. When
I mean, the Jets have 2, right?
I think the Jets also have 2. I think they have 1. Who would they have?
And that's just this year, right? Like they, I'm sure they have some more next year as well. So, I would say like the Dolphins. I'm upset that they're not giving to a fair shot, right? I don't feel like they are, and I also was a bit upset the way that in the same way I was upset about the Eagles and Hurts, right? They were trying to force the Carson Wentz situation, and I felt like this year, even with the Dolphins, like they would see Fitz give them a win, and then be like they try to force the Fitz situation, right? And they're like, okay, it's him. No, it's this guy. Oh, this guy lost a game, so let's switch over.
Yeah, it's like
just let Tua.
It's like be realistic of what you are. You're not a playoff team. Let the guy play. Let him play. Let him learn. Let him build. Don't. You weren't gonna make the playoffs really. With freaking Kyle Van Noy getting 6 sacks, which is one of his like top years, is getting like 6 sacks, and they weren't gonna get anywhere. I mean, Xavier Howard's a great corner, great piece. That's a huge, nice little piece to have. But it's like you just gotta let him play. Like I don't see why. Like I understand the fact that it's like you don't want to. I mean, especially coming from me, right? It's like I'm a Giants fan. Like I'm like, I don't necessarily like Daniel Jones, and I was like, but like when he was drafted, right? Remember when he was drafted, I was like upset. But then the next day, I was like, all right, he's on the team. Play him then. It's like he's on the team. Do it. Just do it. You're gonna have to do it anyways. It's like, all right, fine. Yeah. It's like, fine, he's here, but now let him play. We're not going to go anywhere. Let him play, let him build. And he hasn't been the worst out of that draft class. He's definitely been better than what we've, I don't know.
I mean, speaking on Daniel Jones, like, you've seen a lot of, like, potential. You've seen a lot of potential. This guy's fast.
He's sneaky fast.
I wasn't expecting that one. When everybody was comparing him to Eli Manning, like just do like mannerisms and like just.
I mean, he was like the same size, like.
Yeah.
Like Eli's 6'5", which I that blew my mind when I actually noticed that. And I was like, Eli's 6'5", and then Dan Jones is like 6'4", 6'5", and it's just like, and then he went to like the same quarterback camp that had the same coach that coached Eli and Peyton.
Okay.
Which that was a weird connection they had. That's why like the Mara family. That's why that people were like, oh, they went there. I don't know. But yeah, it was obviously like, I don't know. Yeah, so it's like, I wouldn't mind the Giants, making a move for Watson. I don't think Dave Gettleman would. I don't know. I hear people talk about how bad Gettleman is. I don't have an opinion just because I actually don't know. I know that I don't know. Like, I'm knowledgeable for the fact that I don't know how good GMs, like, I don't know how that works. Like, I'm not skilled enough to know, what makes a good trade, what makes a good this. So I'm just kind of saying out of it from people I trust that I know, like people like Chris Sims and Adam Lefkoe. They talk about Dave Gettleman not being great. So I'm like, I trust their opinion, but obviously I understand that I'm just, trusting someone else's opinion. But I understand that I am. I'm not like making it my own. So yeah, that's like one thing.
You know what? I think, like we were talking about, if the Texans would let go of Watson, it's going to be for a draft pick in this draft or in the next draft where they can get a high quality draft, like a high quality quarterback or high potential quarterback, right? Or, right, they're going to get a quarterback that, they see has potential currently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tua has a lot of potential, right? And I don't think his first year was very nice, so a change of scenery could be useful. I don't think the Dolphins gave him a fair shot, and I don't think he internalized that very well.
Mm-hmm.
You can constantly see it where they were being taken out for fits. Like when they finally put him in and took him out for fits. It was just first year.
Like you can't do that to a rookie.
It shatters your confidence. I mean, you guys went 10-6. They went 10-6. That's almost like they're pretty much. If they were in the NFC, that would have put them in.
If they were in leagues, because like what they're in the AFC West. If they're in the AFC East. If they were in the NFC East, where the top, where the playoff team for the NFC East was the 7-9 Washington football team, it's like that would have been a way better game, and maybe they would have given Tom Brady a little bit of a
run for his money.
Because that was like that's the team he played in the division in the wild card round.
Wild card, yep.
So it's like if I don't know, I for Watson, that's the thing though, right? It's like I actually, in terms of like teams, in terms of like I choose teams that are just interesting to me, regardless of like coaching or like staff. Like Texans are a cool team. It's a very interesting team to possibly have as like a good team.
I think the one thing is like, I guess the Texans have had just a terrible reputation of not treating their players right. I think the one player they really did treat well was J.J. Watt, and that was because he embraced, the community, and he embraced what it meant to be a Texan. But, the last person, one of the last people that really the community, Andre Johnson. He was
which even he said like not to mention like other NFL podcasts, but it's like, people that talk to Andre Johnson are like, he would never, he doesn't like, stick his head into things. He doesn't like try to make comments or whatnot. He doesn't do that much. But like when everything was happening, he was like, "Oh, Deshaun Watson, go!" Like it was like, which is crazy to think. It's like he never talks. He doesn't do that.
Out of nowhere, but
this
I
point,
didn't hear from him for a while, right? Out of nowhere, this guy's like, this guy's got to go. Like I encourage that, and I was like, whoa, like this guy's known for being a Texan, right? Like this guy is known for that, and he retired a Texan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for him to just come out and say that, you could tell it meant a lot. You can tell that he understands what Watson was going through. So, man, I think Watson, it'd be surprising if he just, the Texans don't even let it happen. If they don't let a trade happen and he sits out, right? Because that's also a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want that to happen. I'd love for him to see him play somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he's in the space where he wants to play for the Texans, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of where the situation is. You know, it's at a standstill because they don't want to let him go. This guy's amazing. And I think another possible place they could let him, like they couldn't let him go to, they could let him go to just the Jets, right? But this guy has a no trade clause as well. So if he doesn't want to go to the Jets, he ain't gonna go to the Jets. Like he's not gonna go. But the Jets have the draft picks to do it. I mean, they could trade you Sam Darnold, right? I think they ruined themselves in actually winning a game, and they kicked themselves off of the Trevor Lawrence, destiny. And if they want to get a guaranteed quarterback that they know can play and is amazing, right? They would go for Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, you're taking a big chance drafting somebody, right? Or even getting another free agents like Marcus Mariota, even though he did very well for the Raiders. I mean, that looked amazing when he played for the Raiders. But like in absence of Carr, you don't. The best path for them right now, at least as far as I see it, is really trying to go after Watson and hope that the Texans are willing to take all your draft picks, or like take all of that, because then you can guarantee a quarterback that can do everything you need to, and you might even trade Darnold in that package.
Hey everyone, I noticed you'll see there's a jump here. It's because after this point in the podcast, we had a very deep conversation that we felt would be better to make into its own separate episode. So if you want to see that, obviously click the link at the end of the video, bring it to there. We just felt that it was best if we made that separate. So we're filming this now just to say thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. We highly recommend checking that conversation out, and make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys like, comment, share. We love doing this, and hope to see you guys next week.